Hello everyone, Zelrant here, and today I thought we kind of go over Klukai and kind of how to build her, whether V0, V3, or V6. It's pretty much all the same in my opinion, with some slight tweaks based on whether or not you're V0 or V3 or V6, and you're going to be doing platoon boss battles. And also when it comes to V3 and V6 builds, and kind of building teams for platoon boss battles. This is, even if you have V0, you want to pay attention to this as well, because a majority of platoons, at least from what I can see, a lot of them have at least somebody in there that has a V3 or V6 that you can borrow for the platoon boss battles. And at this point in time, especially a V6, if you're able to borrow a V6 Klukai, you're going to want to do that for every single one of the platoon boss battles you do, because she's probably going to be your highest damage dealer, especially if you can build the teams, as we'll kind of take a look at here when we utilize her. And then after that, we'll kind of look at one other really nice thing that you can do with all levels of Klukai as well. It trivializes the PvP content. And so even if you're a person that doesn't like to deal with that PvP stuff, because even though it's super easy, it is a little tedious, Klukai has made it where it is no longer tedious. And I'll show you that here at the end. But the first thing I want to take a look at is just kind of building her out. We could take a look at the weapon first, since that's fairly simple. Her weapon is good, but if you didn't go over V3 or V6, just stick with Planeta, because it's trivial in the damage increase this provides, and you'd be better off just getting dupes of Klukai and working your way towards V3 before you even think about pulling for her weapon. Now, I have R2, because if you watch my stream, I did get 2 copies of this in my last 10 pull. So that's kind of made me think that down the line, maybe on rerun or anniversary, if we're able to buy limited weapons outright, I may end up max duping at this at some point in the future. But just know, Planeta is plenty fine if you're V0. You don't go crazy on worrying about getting her weapon. Now, the big thing is on attachments here. This is fairly straightforward as well. It's the standard that you see with all DPSs: attack, crit rate, crit damage, attack boost, and then attack, crit rate, attack boost, and all these pieces. And you want to use the corrosion set for Klukai. Now, I've got 2 perfect pieces on her. Still have not been able to get this piece. It's driving me nuts. But it is what you need on her attachments. That's all you need there. Pretty straightforward there. The biggest thing is going to come to her fixed keys here. And ultimately, you want to get all of them to max out her stats so you can get her common key. Common key is really good on her. And then on the other ones, right now I just have the crit rate, crit damage, attack boost on her. Those work great. But pretty much any of your standard good boss ones are going to be good on her when you're doing boss fights. So like things like Allrids and all of that will be great there. But the main thing that you really have to pay attention to, especially if you're doing the platoon boss battles, is the fixed keys that you want here. Now, her most important one right now, while we don't have Meech 2 to provide that extra corrosion damage as well as converting Peridius to corrosion damage, is this one right here. And this is the fixed key strong support. And it's where for every support attack performed by other allied units, it gains 1 point of Confectance Index. And this one is extremely important because, as you know, with her passive, right now, her normal passes has, if Klukai performs an active attack or other allied deals corrosion damage, Klukai will get, after the skill usage, gains 1 point of Confectance Index. And then for every 3 points of Confectance Index, it can reduce the ultimate cooldown by 2 turns. So you want to start, and her ultimate cooldown has a 6-turn cooldown, so you want to get a crap ton of Confectance Index so that you can ultimately spam that ultimate every turn when you're doing the boss battles. And so that one is going to basically be what we need to use right now, because we have a lack of corrosion damage within our teams. And so this is going to make it where you can do that. And then the other ones, platoon boss, are basically specific for the platoon boss battles, and that's going to be reducing your width of your devastating drift. This one takes it from 5 if you're V3 or lower, or at V6 it takes it from 7 to 3. It increases for every tile reduced by 10%, so or 20% for V5 and lower, and 40% for V6. So this one's a massive amount of damage to a single target because it's a smaller area that you're hitting. So when you're focusing down a boss, and then you have the other one over here. If the ultimate skill Devastating Drift only hits 1 target for boss fights, increases target damage by 30%. Both of those are huge, and like, I've pretty much, I mean, this is at V6. I'm just keeping these on at all times, even for general content, because this is already a large enough area with this one that I don't really care that I can hit more enemies. She does plenty with being able to do it. Kind of same with this one. This one's, if you're only hitting one target, even when I'm doing AoE and hitting multiple targets, she's still wrecking all of them. But if you wanted to min-max, when you're doing a non-boss content, you're going to want to shift it between some of these other ones up here, since you're now wanting to hit a wider range, and then you're not going to do more damage if you're not hitting only one unit. So, but these are the three that I just keep on because it's just not, I'm not wasting my time constantly switching these back and forth. Because one thing I tend to do is forget to switch them. And so I might do, if I use any of these others for other content, then I may forget and do the platoon boss battle with the wrong keys on there. As well, if someone's borrowing your Klukai, you don't want them to borrow when it has the wrong keys. So I would suggest to leave those ones on. And so that is the fixed key things. Now, when it comes to looking at the teams, I think it might be a little bit obvious here, but there's like a main thing that you're wanting to look for, and that is getting as many support actions as you can to reduce her cooldown so she can spam her ultimate. And the first team you kind of want to take a look at is going to be your burn team. You got QJ or Shanju who can do 4 if you use her ultimate, so she's got a lot in there. You have Sharkry who's doing it, and you have Senorisi who can do support actions. But even if you don't have a Senorisi, then you have, where is she? Then you can just use Senia. She has support actions. Plenty fine there. Right there is one good team pair along right sider as you're buying her, and you should be able to do her ultimate multiple times in a row. The same thing can be applied to Ice Team. If you have Macchiato, Macchiato can do 2 up unless you go to V2. If it's a V2 Macchiato, you have 3. And I believe it's V6 is where she has 4. So she can do a bunch of support actions to reduce that cooldown. And then almost everybody has Suomi. She has support actions. So Suomi can help with that on the ice side as well. And then if you have Dush as well, Dush there. The whole ice team has support actions. They all can help reduce it. And if you don't have that whole team, you just kind of want to put a team together that has support actions. So you don't have to be perfect on elements. I'm just kind of demonstrating some teams you can kind of look at here. So Ice has plenty within theirs. But then you have the other big one. And this is going to be if you have a Peritia, which I finally got. If you watched my live stream, you saw that I could not get her. I lost the 50-50 in the standard banner with the 70 pulls I had. And I got extremely lucky. And it's like I did 2 single pulls yesterday as I bought them from the event shop. And I got her. And it was like only 30 pulls in. So I got extremely lucky. So I finally got her for this platoon boss battles coming up. But Peritia is really good with her because she can do 6 support actions. And Klukai can trigger all of those support actions. And so just Klukai and Peritia together is going to be a great team for reducing her cooldown. And then you can just pair her with pretty much anyone else at that point. So Peritia mixed with, say, like bringing your Tololo. Because Tololo is not going to help much at all in terms of reducing her cooldown. But Tololo, for most people, does a lot of damage. So you're going to want to bring her with one of them. And the one case you'll want to bring her is probably with a Peritia. Then you can bring like your Sabrina. Sabrina has a couple support actions within her kit. And then you can just kind of mix or match anyone else in there. I mean, you have Mosin Nagant that has some support actions. You have Nemesis that has support actions. A nice thing about Nemesis, she also does corrosion damage. And so with Nemesis and who's the other one? Isn't it Nagant? I have not messed with Nagant at all. Yeah. But I don't think she can actually do corrosion damage. Oh yeah, so Nagant as well has corrosion damage in hers as well. I have not messed with her at all. I don't know if anyone's really built her. But you have a little bit you can get out of them if you're really needing to have some. But the big thing is focus on putting teams together in a way that you can do enough support actions so that she can spam her ultimate within all your different hits. Even if you need to mix and match them to make that happen, because Klukai is going to do a lot of damage if you're able to pull this off. And you're borrowing especially a V6. And so that is kind of overall how you want to build your Klukai. She is absolutely great at boss battles. Now, we haven't tried her on the guild boss yet, but I've seen the videos. And so even without Meech 2, she's going to be great for this one. Now, there's one last thing I wanted to talk about with Klukai, and that is she does trivialize the military simulation. And I have a V6, but this is the same case for V3 and V0. But she makes this, at least until Andrus comes out, she can take care of this single-handedly for you every single time, and it takes less than a minute. So you don't even have to think now. So even if you're one of those people that said it's too tedious, I don't want to work to get to the top 50%, because it's too tedious, it's not anymore. And if you want to do this, this is how it works. This is how easy it is. We'll just show it real quick here. You just bring in your Klukai. It does not matter at all what the other team has. Now, I have seen some that try and counter it, but even then, it doesn't really work. Because the main thing is, if they have a Klukai, you want to at least kill the Klukai. But in a majority of cases, they have all their units either on one side, they either have them in the middle, or they have them this other side. All you have to do is just start, get your Klukai in a position. Now, if you're V0, I believe you have to position your Klukai a little bit better for hitting them, because Klukai doesn't have as much range as a V6. But it's, the same case is true regardless. But if you have V6, at least I know it works this easy. You just come up here, you use your second one, and as long as your skill 2 is hitting them, remember, this is the one that puts the dot that spreads as units die. You're going to kill these. I'm only hitting these 2 units, but this dot is going to spread from killing them, and it's going to kill all of them. Now, this might be a little bit more tricky for V0 because, like I said, you have to get your positioning correct, but it's still a massive AoE, and you're going to be able to use it regardless to clear them. And that is how easy PvP is now, if you have a Klukai. Now, once Andrus comes out, she counters that, and you can't just straight up kill them all like that. But that's what PvP is now if you have a Klukai. That's all you have to do. And you just do that until you're about in the 100 or so points, and you'll guaranteed to be in the top 50% at this point. But yeah, that is pretty much it for Klukai. Absolutely amazing unit, regardless of how many dupes you have. Definitely the funnest unit I've played in this game. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, if you like my content, if you could like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.